Alright, we're going to try and do this one without a voiceover here. We're going to talk real quick. We're going to be putting a sump system under the truck. Sump system is for like my Cummins, my Dodge. It has a fuel system, a fast fuel system on it. And I have my kids here, so you're just going to have to deal with it. The fast fuel system draws this 1/2 or 5/8 inch hose from it, big fat hose about that size. But then it draws down to the factory pickup, which has a 1/4 inch line on it. And anytime you have anything with flow, it's only as good as the smallest restriction, which is 1/4 inch. Also, the truck has 200,000 miles on it. It's 22 years old, almost. It'll be 22 this year. And that produces an issue where a 22-year-old truck has some plastic parts and they have worn together in such a way that now I'm getting an air leak around the pickup where the quick connect goes to the top of the tank. So this sump system uses a hole saw in the bottom of the tank. You put this up in there, put this to it. There are some O-rings. I'll talk about that later. And uses 2 screws to draw it together and clamping on that tank. See, there's a little bitty gap right there, so it won't clamp too tight. And allows you to have this small puddle of fuel at all times to draw from. So it goes right straight through there. Now, this is not the FAS or anything like that brand. This is actually a Swag Performance piece. I chose it because it is built aluminum. It has 2 O-rings, which I have removed, and I'm showing them here. The O-rings is, just double the sealing surface there. It uses a similar washer right here to what like the Banks Monster Ram system or a lot of anything that really needs to seal around a bolt. So you'll notice you can't use just any bolt here. This is an Allen headed bolt. It's a cap screw bolt. And it's got a flat portion right there. And that's going to clamp that little rubber O-ring, which is around the washer, to the bottom of this billet aluminum piece. When it draws together, it'll draw like that. Now, this one is set up for a return line as well. This is the return line. Return line screws in here. Now, why is the return line so much higher? We're going to talk about that. Why is it so much higher in height up into the tank? Return lines, anytime they go, if there's any air in them or whatever, you don't want it on the suction side, so you don't want it down here. And it produces turbulence. It's turbulent fuel. It's already been through everything. It's turbulent. It's got a lot of almost aeration in it. It's really moving at a high velocity. That's not something you want your pickup to have to deal with down here. So you want to put that fuel return up higher, so it's dispersed amongst the fuel that's higher in the tank. Now these also solve, and several things do. There's 5/8 suction kits and this and that for different kinds of pickup, and they all fix the 1/4 inch line hard start that you get when you're about a 1/4 of a tank. There's a little piece once you drop the fuel basket. It'll be harder to start if you're below a 1/4 of a tank on these 2nd gen Dodges. It may pertain to other years. And a couple of things to notice: you don't have to run a return line into this. It does come with a pipe plug, which will go in there. This is a steel pipe plug. This is an aluminum piece. It will, if not properly sealed up, produce some form of corrosion. Just over time, just the way it is. It's on the bottom of the tank. It's going to have some issues. No big deal there. It came with these little barbed fittings. Go in there. We're not going to use them on the suction side. We may end up using them on the return line. I'm not for sure. We are going to use these conversions here, these little adapters. These are going to run from the 1/2 inch NPT or National Pipe Thread to an AN fitting. I don't remember what AN stands for. So you can see this one has been pre-scratched. Doesn't matter, it's going to be under the truck. I just like the red and blue. If you remember the old Carcraft and stuff like that magazines, they had advertisements for AN lines by one of the big brands, whose name I'm not sure I can get away with saying right now, so I'm not gonna. But at one point in time they had a mannequin and then like a model, and they said it takes more than red and blue to make it real, because one of them was a mannequin, one of them wasn't. I thought it was really cool. I was about 10. Thought it was very cool, because one of them was in a bikini and the other one was in a bikini, and one of them was real and one of them wasn't. But you can see here we can do a lot of cool things with this coming out of here. These fittings are readily available. The adapters were like 15 bucks, 13 bucks. But I did choose this for a reason. It seemed to be billet. It seemed well made. I couldn't find anything negative about it. It had dual O-rings for sealing. A big, nice, thick looking clamp assembly. I like how it's notched out for the return. Yes, these are my kids. You're just gonna have to live with them. I do. Half the time anyhow. It's just a good looking piece. Feels nice and heavy. And very importantly to me, and this may not be to you, it came with a hole saw. Now you can see that lip. It goes up in there. I want that lip to fit pretty dang tight. And if they provide the hole saw, then I know that I have the correct size. I'm not just a little bit off. I'm not allowing for manufacturer variants of the hole saw. This is not something I expect to use for my day-to-day usage. If I'm going to use hole saws, I've got the Milwaukee, excuse me. Anyways, now that we've rescued stuff from the clutches of children, if it comes with a hole saw, I only expect to have to use it once. I'm going to cut that with the provided hole saw, which seems okay. I mean, it's not anything fantastic. It doesn't need to be. It's cutting a plastic tank. It's very important also, if you're like me, the bottom of your tank has a bunch of scratches on it. Choose a flat spot that is this big, not this big, this big, that has a minimal amount of scratches. Take that and make sure it's cleaned up as good as possible. It doesn't have plastic that has been like turned out or it's taller. You want as best a sealing surface as you can give this before bolting it to it. So you'll measure this, get something about this big around, maybe a plastic lid, maybe, okay, so it's bigger than that. Anyhow, find something circular, this big, crawl underneath your truck. You don't have to drop the tank to do this. You can. I probably will have a flatbed and I can pull my fuel basket out without dropping the tank, so I'll do that. But this is one of those things. It fixes the hard start low quarter tank, it fixes the restriction, and it fixes, if you're like me and you have an aftermarket fuel system and it has that cool little T that goes into the filler neck that is now causing all sorts of really weird leaks. It fixes that too if you run the return line in here. It's why we have enough AN line stuff like that and the cool retro types. But anyhow, there you have it. There's what you need to know about the Swag Performance Fuel Sump Kit. I will do an update on this. This is just an unboxing and kind of looking over an explanation of why I chose this one. Provided that everything goes good, we will go back over this, good or bad, at some point in time. If I forget, please remind me. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.